Mark Newsome, thank you so much for joining today. What is your life's purpose?
Excellent question, my friend. The bottom line with me, even though I'm a marketer and I'm trying to make a profit like everybody else that's in business, I really have a passion for working with my target market. And I'll say it even this may not even sound believable, Mo, but it's the truth. I'd rather help somebody and they didn't compensate me than to just push sales on 'em.
How that?
What I'm saying is, let's say this was a paid, I'm sorry, a free 30-minute consultation. I'm not going to hammer and pound you strictly, well, you need to get in my advanced program, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to try to deliver the value and just let the chips fall where they may.
Okay, gotcha. So, in these economic times at the moment, at least here in Germany, marketers have a very, very hard time. And at the end of the day in life, it's often about how you market yourself in the job industry and everything. So I think every lesson you will give us today could be very, very important for everybody out there. But starting with online marketers, how could they avoid being victimized by social media?
Oh, man, that is an excellent question. I'm so glad you brought it up. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not, I know he's told you this, but do not forget this. This is critical to your current and future success or lack thereof. Unless your last name is Zuckerberg or Hoffman, the guy who co-founded LinkedIn, you and I do not own these social media platforms. Please do not try to build 100% your business or service online strictly relying on social media. Your Titanic is headed towards an iceberg. Let me give an example of what I'm talking about. You wake up tomorrow, Mo, it's taking you 18 months, 24 months to build up your 500,000 people on Instagram, your 500,000 people on LinkedIn, your 500,000 on TikTok, your 500,000 on Facebook. And just like that, they shut your account down. What? Why? Who knows? It's their platform. They say, hey, you violated some rule of service. You go through all these hoops, you may or you may not get your account reinstated. I had this happen to me with an old school social media platform I was on. And I like to say it like this, Mo. Only relying 100% on social media is like sleeping on your ex-in-law's couch. You never know when she's going to come home and say, Mo, I love you. You got to go. Now, when that happens, where does that leave you, ladies and gentlemen? You're going to be homeless in cyberspace. You say, okay, Mark, what's the alternative? Two things. If you're not into blogging, I love to blog. I'm a writer. If you're not into blog, no judgment, but you better have your own opt-in email list. This is not negotiable. That's something you control. That traffic on social media, all you and I are doing is leveraging it, borrowing it. We don't own it. We don't control it. You don't control the algorithms, neither do I. So do not put yourself behind the 8 ball thinking, oh, I don't need a website. I don't need a blog. I'll just do social media. Yeah, you might for a while. But one day your Titanic is going to hit an iceberg.
It's just funny seeing that you tell me that on a podcast who is relying at the moment to 100% on social media. Everything else, everything goes over social media. This is it. There is not much more. There's no merch shop. There is no email list. There is not an extra platform or anything. The only thing besides all of the social media is a little website. And that is pretty much it. So what you just said gave me a little bit of chill. So for everybody else out there, they have their own social media, and you told me right now that it could be always the case that they're just suspended. Not acting like I never went through it with any other YouTube channels and everything. It sooner or later it happens if you don't really pay attention really good. But how can you get out of that? Because like you said, you need to leverage it, you need to use it, because at the moment it makes you excel so much faster than everybody else. You would be dumb without using it. So is there any alternative to it to get to new people?
You're going to use social media to get them off social media onto your opt-in email list that you control. Now you can decide how often you want to contact them, what type of
Hmm.
content you could send to them, what type of offers. When you're on social media, you're just sleeping on somebody else's couch, and you're hoping they don't pull the rug from under you.
Okay, so it always starts with social media.
It absolutely can. Social media is fantastic. But since we don't own it, we can't control it. And if you don't have control, they might just decide it could be political mode. Just, we don't like his content. You shut down temporarily or permanently. Who knows? Then you gotta jump through all these hoops to try to get him reinstated. Maybe a new CEO comes on and says, I don't like that kind of marketing. We're going in another direction. You and I have no control over that. You can't run a business like you're walking on eggshells. No. You need control. You and I need control. I have my own blog. I have my own opt-in email list that I'm currently steadily building. So if they shut me down, or let me say it another way, Mo. Let's say after I appear on your podcast, you and your team look it over and say, this is great, but I don't think this guy's right for our audience. Bang. Where's that leave me? On the other hand, since I have my own blog, I got my own opt-in email list, I can still reach out, put my own content out, contact my audience anytime I want. Now, granted, you're not getting as much leverage. I will acknowledge that, but the trade-off is you have less control.
Okay, so for someone who has no contact points with marketing in their life right now whatsoever, let's say you are on social media, you're doing your own business, your own brand, your own first t-shirt shop or something like that. You use social media, you now have an email list with about 4 to 5 people. You launch your first shop and you get a one-time sale of a customer. But normally that isn't enough for many brands out there to only have the customer one time. Like, for instance, Apple. You get every 2 years, you pretty much are stressed into getting the new iPhone or whatsoever. So how can little brands do that?
Excellent question. Ladies and gentlemen, what this man is really talking about is the survival of your business. Because as he said, if you're honest and you do the math, you know what you're going to find out 99.9% of the time? The money you invest on ads, it might break even, it might not, or you might even lose money. On the other hand, if you realize one sale is the domino that pushes over what we call the back end, all the additional sales, the testimonials, the repeat sales, that's why if you had an email list and you offered a free drawing, everybody who wanted your t-shirt, your watch, shoe, whatever it is, they jump on that list for a chance to win. And you say 2 guaranteed winners. Why 2, Mark? 1 female, 1 male. Now, if your product is strictly, sex oriented, in other words, strictly for women, strictly for men, that wouldn't work. But if you have a product like a t-shirt, a hat, or something, 2 guaranteed winners, because now in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, he's got a male winner, grand prize winner, guaranteed 1 every month, and 1 female. I've got a much better chance to win. That entices them to get on your list. Now, once they get on your opt-in email list, now, if you're saying, Mark, I don't know how to write emails, you write emails just like you talk to your friends. How do you talk to your friends? That's how you write your emails. Because in essence, they are friends. Don't treat these people like an ATM machine. They're human beings. The big brands cannot compete with you and I on customer service in the sense of, like when you go into a local store, Mo, in your general area, they know your face. Hey, Mo, how you doing? They want to know what's going on. The big brands could care less, man. They're promoting their product and they want you to buy it, and that's it. And if you don't spend as much money as the next, you don't get the same type of treatment. That email list allows you to get personal. It allows you to give some insight. Like, for instance, Mo could say, I had this guest on my podcast a while back, this Mark Newsome, Mr. Marketing guy. I was really intrigued by some of the stuff he discussed about social media. That's an insight you're not going to get from, no offense, Apple. It just don't
Yeah.
time or the energy. They're not going to do it. I'd like to think of it like this, Mo. We're the tugboat to their steamboat. We don't need to go out here and get 500,000 fish in our catch for our day to be successful. They almost have to, because their cost is so enormous. And like what he just said, they're banking on that one and done type of sale. Now, as he mentioned, they're going to come back in 2 years, but they got to start all over with their promotions, getting a new audience. That's why you go broke. Do you realize it's 500% more expensive to get a first-time customer versus somebody who's already spent money with you? Who's more likely to refer new business? A current customer, a past customer, or somebody who's not a customer yet?
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Now, you know what? Mo can now send me an email, say, hey, Mark, I just got nominated for this podcast award. Could you show me some love on social media? And I'm 500% more likely to do it because I've been a guest on his podcast. You see how that kind of synergy and relationship works, ladies and gentlemen? That's what you need to be doing. Social media is great for introduction, but it's not great for building long-term, real, rock-solid, hey, man, how is it going? How are you doing? Relationships. There's a corner store I go to, Mo. I've been in there several times, been a couple pennies short. You know what the owner says? Keep it. Bring back next time. Why does he do that? Because he knows that's going to entice me to come back. You think Apple, if you go to their shopping cart and they say $400 and you put in $398 on your credit card, you think that sale is going through? No, it's not. That's the difference. The personability.
It's actually something is so beautiful about the way you just described this relationship between customer and the one who really puts out the service or the product. At the end of the day, we are always on social media, in television, whatever you watch 90% of your day. You're always manipulated by marketers, by the advertising, by even colors and texts. Are you going with that statement? That it is a manipulation world?
I'm glad you brought something up, because I got on my soapbox and I forgot to mention this. This is key. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize in the time you and I are investing this time together, in his local community and in mine, somebody just spent money on a 30-second or 60-second ad, either on local TV or radio. Neither one of us saw it. That money still came out of the budget. Now, you add that up per day over 2 years. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. On the other hand, you could send a series of text messages or emails. And even if they don't open it, it's far less expensive. And you could just turn around, change the subject line, A/B split testing, if you're not familiar with that. In other words, leave the body copy the same, but change that headline, the subject line, send it again, and you might boost your open rate. 3, 5, 7%, 10%. Who knows?
Okay, but strictly talking about advertisement and all of those videos and sponsorships everybody of us sees every single day. At the end of the day, you try to get someone to buy your product, and I'm fully aware that that's just a normal way everything goes. But there are people who study that, who spend years to get every single little detail perfect in their advertisement to get you to buy it. Where do you need to start when making an advert for your own brand, your products, whatsoever?
Well, I'm going to say this. It's going to depend. If you're a product or a service, two different things, because he's just brought up an excellent point. First of all, did you hear what he said? He said they've studied for years. Ladies and gentlemen, as small business owners and service providers and entrepreneurs, we don't have that. We don't have the
Yeah.
budget. We don't have the time. So to try to cut to the chase, what he needs to understand about me as a potential customer is, what do I want? Not what do I need? What do I want? Okay, once he knows what I want, if he's going to put it in a video, do video. If you're going to do text, that headline has got to say, Mo, I'm talking to you. In which case Mo said, oh, well, let me pay attention then. Most of that stuff online is noise. It's not getting your attention. You're scrolling through social media and you're really not even halfway. You're kind of halfway blocking it out because you say this is nothing but advertising. Marketing and promoting says, Mo, I know what you want. And here it is right here. This is what you want, Mo. This is what you told me. I'm in the surveys. And this is what you want. That's why I said you start with a free drawing. Because that free drawing says, I'm interested in that. So much so, I'm going to enter your drawing. Now you're building a list of prospects who raised their hand and said, I'm interested in that. And you sort of build out from there. And if you need any more help, you reach out to Mo or myself and we'll get you going. Right? That's what we do.
Yeah. So what you just said, the split testing, you have the same email and everything. It all comes down to words. Yeah, there is color and everything in the advertisements, but just the email advertisement, it all comes down to words. Are there any safe words that could give you a few more sales pretty much always statistically?
Yes, absolutely. You start with attention. Now, he just made well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're paying attention to what this man has said because he's dropping it like it's hot. Think about this now. The colors, the background, that stuff is secondary. I mean, you shouldn't have some super loud color now. I'm saying you got to focus on impact. Certain words have impact. Free drawing exclamation point has impact. In fact, let's take this a step further, Mo, because a lot of people just think linear. They don't kind of think, like if you say 8 plus 2, that's all they see. They don't see 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 5 plus 5, 9 plus 1, 11 minus 1. That's all 10. I said that to say this. Let's suppose you're starting out with a small budget, okay? You can't compete with the big boys and girls, but guess what you could do? You could partner with some companies that have a product. Like if I say to you peanut butter, what do you think of to go with that?
I'm allergic to peanuts, so the first thing I think of is death.
In America, I guarantee you 99% are going to say jelly. You know what I'm saying? Peanut butter jelly. So you'll be somebody's jelly to their peanut butter, or you be their peanut butter to their jelly. And what I'm saying is you hook your product or service on the back end of their product. And let's say, for instance, Mo comes to me and he says, Mark, I got product B, you got product A. There's a very good chance a certain percentage of your audience, once they buy product A, your product or service, they're going to want my product, service, or B. Let's partner. And I will give you a certain percentage of the front end of that sale. Once we pay for costs, let's say, 60-40, once we pay for the cost, I'll give you X percent per sale. Now I sit back and say, oh, wait a minute. So I could use your product's profit to help offset my ad costs. Exactly. So there's a lot of synergy in here, ladies and gentlemen, your main competitors don't see, because they strictly, 8 plus 2. They don't see 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4. Now, you got to test this stuff, right, Mo? I mean, you don't just jump into the pool. You got to make sure there's enough water in the pool to support you. So you test. But the point that I'm making is, off his point, you're trying to build a brand. You got all this noise out here. The big boys and girls got big bucks and they can just wait it out. Just keep running ads, keep running ads. Ads aren't making money, but it's getting them out there. You and I don't have time for that. You got to cut to the chase. In fact, let's say you do sell t-shirts or hats. Find the local men and women who are influential in your immediate area. The hairdressers, the barbers, the therapists, the tarot card lady. They should, if you're selling handbags, if you're selling women's perfume, go to a female hair salon and say, hey, ladies, if you will bring somebody, let's say your shop is right next door, to just be convenient here, Mo. If you'll bring somebody to my shop with you when you come, I'll give you this 32-ounce sample of any fragrance in my store that you like. Now think about what happens. For that small sample, they dab it, they go back to the salon, now they're doing hair. What do you think at least a percentage of those females who sit in that chair are going to want to know, Mo?
Where's the perfume from?
Where did you get this great stuff? She said, oh, you know, a shop right next door, Mo's Exotic Fragrances? Yeah, here. They put their name on the back of the card, they print. You take this card and they got to put a date on it, Mo. It can't be no more than 72 hours, 3 days, whatever the date is. Even if the third day is a holiday in your particular area of the world, doesn't matter. They put 3 days, say, now, if you go before this date and you drag a friend with you, you can get a sample for free if you don't do anything else. If you join his list and you bring a friend, you get the sample plus X% off. Now, he mentioned social media. You think there's going to be any posted on social media about this, Mo?
If it's a good product, it will be.
There's a very good chance these ladies are going to be showcasing, and this could work for jewelry. Don't even get me started on jewelry. But the point is, oh, here's something else it could do, Mo. I'm just using the perfume. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is just an example to try to show you how you can start small and blow up. You go into Mo comes into the shop because Mo's wife or girlfriend goes to this hair salon. That's how he knows the owners and stylists. So they say, hey, Mo, how you doing? He says, hey, listen, I'm testing a new fragrance. I'm not sure which of these two is my best fragrance. And so I'd like you to sample whichever one you like. I'll let you, dap yourself. Oh, okay. And Mo says, now, when they choose the one, let's say there's 5 stylists, the owner and 5 other stylists, so 6 women. Say, if we can get a consensus, whichever fragrance is the most popular, I'll spray it in the air and spray it in your bathroom. Now, when the customers go in the bathroom, they smell this great exotic smelling fragrance. When they're sitting in the chair, it's in the air. They say, girl, where is it? What is that you're wearing? Mo Exotic Fragrances? He's doing a special sale right now for this week only with our customers. What? That's how now some of these women might own a business. Mo wants to partner with them. Some of these women might work for the state or a dental office. Mo wants to hook them up. This is, and now he still uses social media, but this is how you grow exponentially.
Yeah. Now, everybody, when listening to you, everybody wants to start, of course. And then they go online, ask ChatGPT, and the first thing they will get back pretty much is to run very, very expensive ads on Facebook, Instagram, and all of that. Is there just one simple marketing tool out there that just everybody could use?
Well, again, we're all different. I don't know, but you bring up a good point. Notice how our strategies that we're laying out here, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to run ads. Those people become walking, talking billboards. And when they go socialize to the local party, the local get-together, the local women's PTA meeting, the soccer mom thing, when they just meet with their besties on Friday to have a drink, and they're wearing that fragrance or your bling or whatever, the hat or a conversation is going to be started. Long after that ad is over with. No matter who saw it, commented on it, or whatever, they're still wearing that fragrance. And they still have that experience in their mind, and they're going to share that over and over and over. And most competitors are saying, this guy, he's not spending nearly as much money as we are. How come he's blowing up more than we are? Because he's marketing and promoting and not relying on advertising. Advertisement is too one-dimensional. It's too one-dimensional.
You're opening my eyes right now. For me, it was pretty much the same word. Both of them were similar, but wow. Okay, so more marketing than advertising, because at the moment this podcast is at a stage where we have a podcast episode for every single week for the next 6 months. So it's crazy, and now I finally have time to focus on the growth of the podcast, to get new listeners, and I'm just asking myself pretty much day in, day out, how can I get more listeners for that? That's not a question to you, of course. We don't want to bore the listeners, but just having now this new definition, it's just great.
That's fabulous. Because here's the bottom line. As soon as I get the link, I'm going to start promoting the heck out of it. Okay?
Thank you so much. So there's one question. There's one question I'm dying to ask you. Because I would be mad at myself if I didn't ask you. There was this big dropshipping hype. A few years ago, it all started, 2016, I think, and then it ramped up, and last year, still people were telling everybody that dropshipping is the main big thing, and yeah, I'm not lying, I tried it myself a little bit. I didn't go all in for my own sake, but what do you think about dropshipping? Because all of this mouth to mouth, all of those marketing completely goes out of the window, because now you rely on social media for the user generated content, the advertisements. You just blow your money out of the window for everything. So what is your stance on dropshipping?
I'm going to say, I just said 7 plus 3. Now I'm going to say 8 plus 2. Follow this, because this is powerful if you think about it. Let's say, Mo, do you have a favorite? I don't even know if you drink mocha or coffee or tea, but do you have a little spot like that you like to go to and just hang out and drink your latte or whatever? Or get a sandwich or something?
No, but I'm going to say Starbucks, yeah.
Okay. Now, follow this. Let's say he and I are sitting in Starbucks, and we're talking, and Mo says, wow, man, I really like some of your approaches and extensions on some of the stuff I was already doing. Man, I'd love for you to come on my show and share this with my podcast audience. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand when that happens, not just with me, but anybody that he brings on his podcast or when he goes on other relevant podcasts, you go from 1 to 1, like what he and I are doing, to 1 to many. So to answer his question indirectly but directly about the drop shipping, don't focus so much on you drop shipping. Find somebody who's non-directly competing and offer your product or service as a bonus. If their customers do X and Y, they get his lower cost bonus product, which exposes him to a whole new audience for pennies on the dollar. Imagine if he had, say, 6 months, it'd take him 6 months, and he got 12 partners. Now he's not relying on his budget. He's getting massive exposure. And a percentage of those people are not going to just buy once. They become repeat customers. See, when you're drop shipping, that first customer is enormously expensive. You're probably going to lose money on them. Mo, have you heard this? They claim, and this is the advertising experts now, they say it's going to take between, on average, 7 and 21 touches, exposures, before somebody buys. That's costing you and I money.
That's so much.
Wouldn't it be better for me to let Mo make most of the money on that first sale that I partner with him? Because I know on average I'm going to get 9 sales on the back end, so I sacrifice that first one. Wouldn't you give up 1 to net 8? I would. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called total lifetime customer value, by the way. I want you to go to Google. I want you to go to YouTube and put in what is lifetime customer value, something along those lines. Watch a video or two, read a blog post or two. You'll have the concept, and then it's just a matter of you putting on your creativity hat and saying, okay, instead of me putting $1 over here, what if I put 30 cents over here and 40 cents over there? What would happen?
Mm-hmm.
What if I help Mark build his business by offering my product? Now he has an advantage in the marketplace his other competitors don't have, at least not yet. So it makes his product stand out better, but at the same time, on the back end, they're getting exposed to my thing. Man, think about it. I mean, this could really blow your business up for pennies on the dollar. And let's say it doesn't work out that well. Even better, because you haven't invested all this money, effort, emotional capital for this thing not to work. See, the problem I have with the drop shippers, the ones that are successful, they're not laying it out saying, hey, you might like cable TV. Mo, you know this, you've heard this. Some of the biggest men and women on cable selling these products at late night, they might go 6 months, what they call dark. What does that mean? That means you're going to pay for that cable infomercial and you're not going to make any money. Who would do that if they knew that up front? They'd say, oh, I don't know about that. Well, I'm telling you, drop shipping is expensive because, first of all, until you dial in your ads, that money's still coming out of your budget, man. I'd rather do 1,000 podcasts like this and only have 1% of them, that would be 10. 10 of them lead to a lot of business than to run 1,000 paid ads. No way.
And this is how the circle closes to the beginning of this podcast. Mark Newsome, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, just Mr. Marketing over there. Thank you so much for sharing everything over here. When people want to get started with all of that or want to use your services, where can they go?
Gentlemen, I'd love for you to come to my house, my cyber home. It's, will you put this in the show notes, Mo?
Of course I will.
Okay. It's my blog. My self-hosted WordPress blog is YOU. Everything is all one word. No hyphens, no space. You can market online now.com. There is a ton of information on there. Ladies and gentlemen, forgive my blog. I'm in the process of updating my theme. It's like the dinosaurs. My theme is older than when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, okay? I got to warn you about that. But my point being, the content is what you're going there for. There's a ton of content there. And Mo, let me just say this as a disclaimer. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my challenge to you. And I don't mean this in an arrogant, pompous sort of way. If you go to my blog, youcanmarketonlinenow.com, read at least 3 blog posts, not in the same day, just 3 blog posts within a week. If you cannot find 3 original ideas or ideas you can hook together, I'm not your guy. It's that simple.
There we go. Thank you so much for your time.
It was my honor and pleasure, my friend. I sincerely hope they got value.